What's up, guys? If you guys are having a starter issue, this is a 2006 CBR 600 RR. And if you're having this starter issue, where everything comes on, you hear this, you can hear the fuel pump prime up, all the gauges stay on. Obviously I have fuel, obviously I have power, it's in neutral, so I'm going to start it. So if you have this problem, yeah, that sounds like a machine gun. Everything resets and shuts off. So you're going to want to check your battery. And it should read above around 12.8 to just over 13 at the high. So we got here 13.45, that's a little high, but that's not bad. So we'll turn the bike on. I'm not going to turn the bike over because obviously it won't turn over, just on. And we got 13.15. Now I had this on the charger about 20 minutes ago. Before I had this on the charger, it was reading 9 volts. Now I know my starter's fine. I've had nothing but problems with this specific battery all summer. So what I'm going to be doing is try it one more time. So 13.5, and it drops down to 2 volts. So this battery is shot. This battery, as far as I'm concerned, this battery is fried. It is garbage. There's cells, even though it's reading at a stand 13.5, it just drops too much. It's completely fried. But I'm going to give it a complete 100% full charge, and then we're going to come back again in about 10 seconds, and we'll see if it fires up. If it doesn't, I'm going to need to get a new battery. So keep in mind, the sound you heard could be the starter, but given the readings of what my battery just gave me, it was 13.5, which is a little high, and it was reading 9 before, and this literally just came off the charger. I should have recorded this when it read the 9 volts, but I didn't. And I know my charging system's fine, because I've already tested that, like probably a couple weeks ago. I already went through all that, tested it, it was perfectly fine. So I'm going to give this a 100% full charge until, right now my charger was reading that it was only at 80%. That gives me suspect that if it's reading 80% and this is 13.5, this battery's shot. So apparently the battery is reading the proper amount of voltage, a little higher than normal. I still have a feeling that I do have a faulty battery, but to go a little further to try and figure it out, we're going to go check the starter solenoid. You can see these two connections right in there. The one on the left is the hot, which is connected directly to the battery. So the battery goes and hooks directly into there, and then the connection on the right goes to the starter. So I'm going to check the hot connection on the left to make sure that the battery is getting power to the solenoid. Take your multimeter. So like I said before, battery is reading 13.56, 57, 56. So that's what it's settling at. So what you're going to want to do is make sure the negative is on either a ground, so a solid piece of metal of the frame, or the negative terminal on the battery works just as well. So you're going to have that, and then you're going to take the red cable and you're just going to want to stick it right on the left screw, which is the left connection there. which is the one that I pointed out that is directly coming from the battery. And we are reading 13.57, so there is power going from the battery to the solenoid. So now what we want to check is to make sure to see if power is going from the solenoid to the starter. So you want to keep the black part of your voltmeter grounded. You want to take the red one, you want to put on the right side, which is where the power goes to the solenoid, or to the starter. And when I turn my key on and hit the starter ignition, the solenoid should make a connection and allow the power from the battery to go through the solenoid. It'll close, making a contact, and the power should go out through this terminal to my starter. Now if there's no power going from the solenoid to my starter, I know chances are my solenoid is messed up or it's just dirty and needs to be cleaned. I've already checked all my fuses throughout my bike. They're all fine. And I am getting 2 volts going out of my solenoid to my starter. In about a week and a half, I'm going to be swapping out my lead acid battery and going with a lithium ion battery just to avoid any future problems. I went bottom of the barrel, bought the cheapest battery I could because I was in a bind and I needed a battery ASAP, which worked great. But one thing you never do, which I did, was I just put the acid in the battery because I wasn't at home, I was somewhere else. Put the battery in my bike and I rode home without giving it the full 8-10 hour charge that it needs to make sure the volts are up. So I probably damaged some cells doing that. Don't really care. It was a $60 battery. I put the acid in myself. Oh well. Lesson learned. That'll never happen again. So we know that we've checked the battery. It was reading 13.5 volts. So now what we're going to do is, the main test is, you can still, like I said, you can still have a battery that when you do the voltmeter, your multimeter is reading properly, whether it's 12.6 volts or 13 volts. But that doesn't mean shit. You could still have a bad battery. The only way to truly test is to run it on just a load tester. So most people, you can take it into a shop, any auto parts store, and they'll do it cheap, maybe even free. They'll just put it under a load tester. We're going to put it on a load tester myself, and this is the true test if my battery's shot. Because for quick reference, you can always just take a multimeter, check your battery that way, see what volts is reading, check other stuff to see if current's running through and stuff like that. But to only truly check if you have a good battery is by doing a load test. And the reason that is you could test your battery, but you could have a fault and it read 13 volts, but you could have a faulty battery and it's still, when you put it under load, that's when it fails. You could have bad cells or whatever. So what we're going to do is, I just have this one, my load tester, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to hook this bitch up and do a load test. So what you're going to do is you want to take the negative and hook it on to the negative terminal. Get this fucking out of here. This is my charging cable that I have hooked up so I can quickly plug and play, as you could say. It's good. just like that. And then we're going to push the button and hold it for 10 seconds. And see where it's at. So we're going to do this again, just to make sure I had a good connection. Everything's good. Good. So like I said, the multimeter, or this, is reading right at the 13 mark. There, guys, you can see that better. You can see without the test, it's reading about 13. Under load. Look at that. That's weak. 6 volts, replace. So that's not good at all. Not good at all. So I know my battery is shot. So that's it. That's a simple test that, check with your multimeter. It can read 13.5 volts all day long. That just gives you a quick reference to see if you have a full charge or not. It doesn't mean you have a good battery. To find out if your battery is good, you're going to have to put it under load. You're going to need a load test or bring it to an auto parts store or your mechanic shop. They'll do it for, next to nothing, if not free. It takes like 2 seconds, as you just saw. And that's the true test if you have a bad battery or not, is put it under load. Mine is crap. It is done. So, thanks for watching, guys. That's a little test. Don't forget to keep your lead acid batteries on a charger all the time. I do it. I just happen to have a faulty battery, so thanks a lot. Don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and ride safe.